Alright, so a couple of years ago I did a video talking about whether you actually need external preamps or whether the preamps in your audio interface are good enough. And for many of us, the preamps in our audio interfaces will more than do a good enough job. But depending on what you're trying to do, there might come a time when it might be beneficial for you to add an external preamp to your setup. So today I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you might want to consider getting an external preamp. Now the first reason is going to be gain, because you can never have enough gain. Now if you look at most any audio interface out there, each preamp in those interfaces is going to have about an average of 55 decibels of gain. Now 55 dB of gain on a mic preamp is actually pretty good, and in a lot of situations it's more than enough. But if you happen to be using microphones with very low output, something like a Shure SM7B, or you're recording a lot of quiet sources, at 55 dB might not cut it. Now when it comes to external preamps, it's going to vary from preamp to preamp, but depending on the preamp that you're looking at, you might have 60 dB of gain, you might have 70. I think one of the Focusrite's units goes up to about 80 dB. So if you always find yourself in situations where your audio interface just doesn't have enough gain available, an external preamp might be something to start considering. Alright, so reason number 2 is going to be using outboard gear when you're tracking. Now I've done a video on this topic and diving really deep down the rabbit hole, so I'm going to link it at the end and down below. But long story short, you can't plug a microphone into an outboard compressor. You can't plug it into an EQ. It needs to see a preamp first. Now there's a very small amount of audio interfaces that have send-in returns on a couple of the channels, which means if you have one of those, you wouldn't need an external preamp, but that's a pretty rare feature. So for most of us, if we want to start tracking through outboard gear, we absolutely have to have an external preamp first. Alright, our third reason is going to be color. Now the preamps on an audio interface are designed to be as clean and transparent as possible, and they're not designed to be hit hard. Whereas if you look at like a Neve or an API or a tube preamp, the harder you hit them with signal, the more they're going to impart a sound on your signal. Like a Neve's going to be thick and warm, an API is going to be big and punchy, and a tube preamp, well, I mean, tubes just sound amazing. And if you're recording anything, it doesn't matter if it's guitar, drums, vocals, the closer you can get the sound going into your computer to sound the way you want it to sound in the final mix, the better off you're going to be. So I've kept this video pretty simple because I've already done a deep dive on some of these subjects, so those videos will be linked over here. And since we were talking about preamps today, I think for the next video we'll do a comparison between preamps and a channel strip, so keep a watch out for that. And on that note, I've been Mr. Jeff, so I just want to thank you all for watching. Hopefully you got something out of this, and we'll see you in the next one, so take it easy. Bye!